So the key is the questioning. And not just like the easy identifications and beliefs that seem kind of like random and float in like, that's not believable. But all the identifiers, all the beliefs that condition this. And, you know, to the individual, the individuated sense of self, that's just never going to sound appealing, because the individuated sense of self, the me, is going to interpret that through an intellectual lens. And when you interpret that through an intellectual lens, it's like, well, I'll just be a pile of mush on the floor. You know, what will do anything? What will live anything? What will say anything? What will go to work? What will make money? That's all a big one, understandably. What will relate? But see, these questions, when we try to answer them through yet more identification, a more identified piece of consciousness, the judging intellect, the this or that, it just can never be answered in any kind of way that's going to feel desirable. Like, who would want that? Because there's no way to intellectualize, conceptualize this condition of beingness that is beyond all that. And we come to retreat and we get a glimmer, right? Or maybe some of us are like living from there a good portion of the time, or like sensing the deep destruction of that personal sense of self. It's dropping out. But it's kind of like one foot in this stream, the judging stream, the me stream, and the other foot in the like no ground, no place to land. I think many of us are doing that. I get a lot of feedback in the sessions, in the personal sessions, that that's a real reality for a lot of people right now. You know, the sense of self has definitely opened and expanded, and we're not so wounded all the time. You know what I'm saying? All the wounds, all the victimology that we're so dedicated to, and the whole phase of like, we have to heal everything. And I mean, none of it, I'm not against anything. It's just not what I'm talking about. That's kind of relaxed, mostly been seen through. There's been depth of experience of something other than this real tightly held identity of separateness. But it's still kind of coming and going. Because like if a fear comes in, a deep fear, it may not even be a conscious one, but the nervous system will start reporting it. Then the tendency, understandably, innocently, it's not a failure, but it's understandably, the tendency is to try to grab, reasonability, land somewhere, use the structured self that we're so used to, the identified self, the conceptualized self, the referencing self, to get a plan, to stabilize the system, to, you know, what that's just habituated. I mean, maybe not for all of you, but here, certainly, There was nobody ever telling me, and it's not a failure on their part at all. I'm not victimizing anybody. There's nothing like that. It's just a reality. There was no like pointing towards let go and trust the power that is animating this life right this minute, the seeing. It's not like somebody was saying, you can trust that. Go with that. It was like, what's your plan? What's your plan? And it's not, this is not a bad thing. I mean, we all know how to take care of ourselves. We've got ourselves here. It's okay. But when we endeavor to question all the identification, all the belief in this sense of self that feels other, we can't trust what we think about it. It's just not a thing. Because what we think about it is going to be like, don't do it, or people get real scared. It feels scary. It feels like an existential crisis to bump up against the loss of that separate sense of self and what that might mean. The attributing of meaning to everything. The conceptualizing self attributes meaning to everything. That's like one of its main functions. The meaning of anything is in its existence, period. I am that I am, not I think, therefore I am. I am that I am. That is the meaning. That's all it is. There's nothing fundamentally beyond that we can add our 2 cents to. Although it's beautiful to language it. I mean, look at the poets that have just, look at that poem we read last night, who have languaged it so incredibly that it's still radiating into, as they said, our intimate assembly. But that is the key. The key is the deep questioning, it's almost like a dedication, not in a judging way, not even in a hopeful way, which sounds funny, but to begin with, it's useful to begin with, even if it's just an idea right now, a concept and not a realized sense. The idea that we have what we need, we are what we need, we are what we're seeking, it's fundamental, it's essential, it's not far, it's not distant, it's not achievable, it's not creatable, it's not manufacturable, it is. And if we can't sense that, it's okay. Just go with but start there. Because if we start from this idea of needing, wanting, the assumption is we don't. Hoping, well, then that's what will be reflected back. Darling, if that's how you need it, here it is. Because uncaused, unborn love is fulfillment. You get that? It's fulfillment. It can only be what you believe it to be. It can only believe. It can only be what we believe it to be. Whew. This just brings up so much